stop this, do this, and oh, but I got this to do and this to do. That doesn't work with this kind of work. You can't get good stuff if you're going to take a person and farm them in 5 different directions at one time. It's just not going to work. And that's what I found as an analyst, that we need data, but we need time. We need focused time. Time to understand the data, time to work with it. And I think PR is seeing that now, that you have to make strategic investments in this kind of technology and in training and in method and process. I think that's something that Port is beginning to do. But I don't see many PR firms wanting to touch it right now because they're afraid of it. You know, they're not sure yet. But I don't think you can do this stuff without them. I don't think you can successfully create good social media monitoring if you're just going to shove it in, shove it out, and mix it in with a bunch of insurance. You know, it's not going to work. And that's what we need to come to this year. The other thing is, these are machine learning algorithms are the future. They are the best way to do this. There's no doubt about it. The question is that they're not universally accessible yet. There's only a couple of companies that are doing it, but you get some bright programmers with physicist backgrounds, like the people who applied semantics, and you got something. But you know, there's other ways. You don't have to do it Crimson's way. There's other ways to do it. You know, but you know that is kind of where it's going. And you need the organizations like Web Analytics Association or some new organization that hasn't been formed yet to bring the vendors together to talk about interoperability issues, because that hasn't happened. And that's going to really change the industry a lot. And in terms of working today, I would suggest that if you are doing anything for a client, you do not mix these platforms together for the same things. Like if you're going to do sentiment analysis using Sysomos, do not use Crimson Hexagon or do not use these platforms together to show the same thing. Use them to make up for the deficiencies one has in the other. Like, I mean, Sysomos does very good, like, data mining stuff with words and keywords. You know, maybe I'd rather use Crimson Hexagon for the sentiment and maybe Sysomos for the data mining, but I don't ever recommend, ever combining these tools together, because as you saw in my first slide, the sentiments won't match up, so you'll create doubt in the mind of any client and it'll blow your picture, blow your work. So you never mix these tools together for the same exact metric. They need to be used sort of triage together, that's, you know, apart. And I think you wait for the singularity to happen in 20 years, and then if that actually happens, you know, some people think that it will happen, and the human mind is intelligent enough, the artificial mind is intelligent enough that it can actually be like the enterprise's computer, then maybe you've got some hope of, you know, just saying, well, what do I think the sentiment is? But I think right now we're not there. So that's my presentation, and I'm open to any questions. Sure.
You brought in your last slide, before I think it was, helpful and independent organization.
Yeah.
Can you say, I'll start with two questions. First of all, can you say, do you think we need that organization? What sort of standards which you think that they might be able to bring about, given that sentiment is a notorious organization to get hold of? I might say expression, obviously, because it's my company. But do you think of
I thought yours better, you know, for a lot of extent, because the things that I found in my original post about social media week, they're the ones I picked up from yours were really negative. Whereas the ones what I mean, they were negative in a mild way, but I could see where as a human being I would have counted them as negative, and none of the other ones really did that. So you knew that, because I told you that. But I mean, the reality was is that, you know, like I found that people and platforms that concentrate on good results might show less data, but it's more important to show good data than a lot of data. And there's a lot of noise. So I would opt on a platform that showed less data but did more rigorous work on the data. So I think Guile's platform does. But second, the platform, when I was on the board of the WA, I ran the social media committee. I created it. We had like 77 members that I brought in, which is like 8% of the organization. And we tried to create the framework for the first social media metrics. Gary Angel talked to me, who was very symphonic, about like no one knows how to do it. I mentioned that this morning, but sentiment is, these are its parameters, and this is how it's scored. And then it needs to be sort of agreed upon by the members of the organization, and then what we basically do is give it to all the vendors, and then the vendors decide how to implement it, but when they do implement it, they're certified. Like Brandwatch is compliant with V2 of the sentiment analysis standard by whatever XXX organization. And then you kind of actually have something that you don't have now. The barriers I found with the WAA were that when we started to bring a lot of cottage companies together and tell them about the work we were doing, we found that most of them didn't want to touch it because they didn't want to sit down at the same table to each other. They were afraid that if they did, their secret sauce would be stolen, their competitors would use it. I then went back and said, listen, unless we can create a round table and give assurances, legal assurances, that nobody that sits at that table can use the knowledge of their competitors against each other, that we would never get them to sit down. And that never happened. The only thing that can make that happen now is Google. If Google comes into this space, then you all guys will want to sit down at the same table. But I mean, right now, no one really has an incentive to sit down at the same table because they have more to lose in the game. Although I don't believe that's true. I think that's what most people feel that I've talked to. And I don't think that sentiment's changed in 2 years. I don't think that people feel that they have much to gain by sitting down with their competitors and sitting down and talking about how to mind their operate. I don't think they see there's any profit in it. So I think this is where we're at today.
Just another couple of questions?
Yes.
Lady
But we could change that, by the way. We can change that.
in the back?
I'm just really interested in terms of sentiment and what it actually means for companies, in particular e-commerce companies.
Someone, I can't hear that.
Yeah, just look for the mic.
Yeah. Well, it was originally down there.
It's roamed. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I'm interested in terms of what sentiment means in particular for e-commerce companies. So what people say and what they actually physically do, in particular online, may be very different things. And I'm just thinking of myself as an example. I find it really easy to just hit the retweet button to slag off Tesco the other week. Yeah, yesterday I placed my order online on Tesco.com, and I was also telling my friend who sits next to me about how great their chocolate mousse was. And just in terms of marrying up this sort of sentiment and opinion-based analytics with actual web analytics, getting your thoughts on how far away you think we are from managing that.
You're talking web analytics, meaning site analytics versus...
Exactly, yeah.
Well, I mean, there's nothing to say that if you can define your categories well, and you can define your site analytics categories well, in other words, if you can create site analytics categories in Omniture, or even in Google Analytics, you can do, give me everybody that comes from Facebook, Twitter, Flickr, MySpace, and create a segment that they spend at least 2 minutes on the site and say, that's social media, say, or Foursquare, and voila. And then, okay, so I have a social media segment. Now I need an opinion monitor that has a segment like that. Like that same. So in other words, you have to decide that the slices you create, whether they're Prism, geodemographic, lifestyle segmentation, that they need to kind of agree. In other words, you need to have a framework from which to create categorization and sites that follow from your web off-site, as web analytics say, Radian 6, Sysomos, Brandwatch, and the on-site analytics definitions you're creating. And you need to design landing pages that will capture that traffic. So that then becomes what I call strategy. Okay, it's not what social